much of an open remarks guy, so fire away.
From when you guys were standing and the season ended at Notre Dame last year, how much has this team changed, and how different will this group be, you think?
You're going to have to ask me that again in about 3 months. If you ask me, my opinion is we've changed a lot. I mean, that's what our hope is. We all knew this was going to be a process, and what we've been through over the last 3 years is all part of that process. At Notre Dame, I can tell you the feeling was we want to keep playing. We don't want to be done. Just like the feeling was at Joe Louis Arena the year before when we lost to Miami, we wanted to keep playing. We have to find a way to recreate that momentum and that sense of we want to keep playing early and not wait till Thanksgiving or Christmas. So I hope we've changed a bunch, and I hope we've got that hunger and that fire in our belly to start. Nobody's pushed back yet, so once somebody starts to push back, we'll have a better idea. We probably won't have to wait 3 months. I think we're going to get pushed back a bunch here early with our non-conference schedule, so it won't be long. But our feeling as a staff is, and from talking to our leadership, these guys are ready to go. A bunch of physical and mental changes and emotional changes have been made, and we've grown up, and we've learned from things we've done in the past, and now we're ready to take on 13-14, and we're excited about it.
Is the excitement level different? I mean, I know you're not starting the conference season yet, but is the excitement level different this year, knowing that it's a whole new chapter with the new league?
I think the excitement level is different, not necessarily about the league, but about the reality of where our team is right now. I remember standing here or standing somewhere my first year here as a coach, and we can't wait to get going and excited. And there was some realities to that year in terms of how good we could be just based on our talent level and some of the expectations and the culture and that kind of thing. Well, I think that's where the excitement level comes from with this year's group is we're a team that should make a pretty serious impact on college hockey, whether it's in conference or out of conference. And I think that's where the excitement level comes from. Our guys have been through a bunch, just like we just talked about. We've won playoff series on the road. We've been to hard places to play. We've had sellout crowds at our ice arena. And the leadership of our team has been through that. We've been through it together. So I think that's where the energy and the excitement level comes from is we feel the expectations are real, and we feel like it's time to kick that door down and start showing the results to go with the expectations.
Chris, your forwards and your defensemen as a group have been through that. Your goalies, not so much. I mean, in terms of experience. How does that temper your expectations? How does it affect your expectations?
It doesn't affect the expectations at all because we expect with the defense and the forwards being more veteran to give up less opportunities, to give up less shots, to be better on the penalty kill. Those kind of things that doesn't necessarily fall on the shoulders of the two Thomases to make the saves and to kind of carry the weight of the world. I think there was times over the last couple of years that we looked at Andrew Hammond as the savior. Go ahead, Hammy, win us the game. And that's just not the reality anymore, we don't feel. Tommy Burke has been through some tough things last year, and that's a good thing. He was thrown into the fire when he wasn't really expected to play, and he did well. Thomas Scholl seems to be a pretty mature young guy and a guy that's ready for this opportunity. Now, we'll see what that means when somebody starts firing pucks for real, but it doesn't temper the expectations at all because we expect to give up less opportunities, to put less pressure on our goaltenders, and with that being said, John, to score more goals. You know, when you score 1.5 goals a game, you're looking at your goaltender like you can't let in two, man, you know, or we're not going to win. Well, that has to change. That puts the onus on the forwards. The changing of defensively being better, that puts the onus on the forwards and the defense. And we think with all that being said, all encompassing, it doesn't change the expectations at all, even with young/unproven goaltending.
Do you have in your mind how you're going to use those guys, either in the exhibition game or start of the season?
We have in our mind, yeah. Basically, what we feel like we're going to do is have a 1-1 situation. I've had some experience with that before in my past, and it's worked pretty well. We want them both to be the number one. That's a good thing. But that sometimes comes with an Andrew Hammond, a more proven guy. So we have a situation where, you know, you go with one on Friday and one on Saturday, and then the focus is you have to win one game a weekend, and the weight of the world isn't on your young shoulders. And that's the game plan. If that has to change and Scott Zacharias comes in the conversation, or one of those two guys plays their way in or out of that 1-1 situation, then we'll address it at that point. And that's not going to be a one-game thing, John. That's going to be something, we're going to let this thing play out. Every young boy or every young guy wants an opportunity. Well, we've got some guys that have an opportunity, and we're really interested and excited to see what they do with it.
Your most experienced group, based on years here and so forth, is it forward, but you've also talked about the struggles offensively. I mean, is it something they have to do different or do better, or how do you just score more goals?
The way I feel that's got a couple different heads to it. One is we're more experienced in the way we want to play. We feel like we've kind of had this blueprint, if you will, of how we want to create offense 5-on-5. We think our defense are going to be more involved offensively 5-on-5. We think our guys have been through enough bad to know that this isn't necessarily I've got to beat my guy and go score myself. This is something we can do collectively. Our power play is going to be better. I mean, it's just there's a whole bunch of different reasons. And I think we have more guys that are capable. We don't need Ryan Carpenter as a freshman to put this team on his shoulders and take off, or Cam Watala as a freshman. We don't need that. These guys are seniors and juniors now. They've played everybody. They've been to the hard places. We've got a sophomore class in Cooper and Tate and Murphy. I mean, these are guys that are good hockey players, and they got a taste of it last year. We're expecting them to take a step forward. So that comes down to our depth. Our depth is better. If it's not the senior line or Watala and Williamson and Moeller scoring, then we've got Carpenter and we have Burkle, DeSalvo, Mingo, and then we've got the sophomores I just talked about. So our depth up front is where our strength is going to be, because I don't think you can focus on one guy. Everyone's going to want to focus on Carpenter based on what he did last year. I think there's more in Watala. I think there's more in Williamson. There's more in Moeller in terms of contributing offensively. Another opportunity starting on Saturday, which is a good thing.
Does the same hold true for the power play, or do you feel like you've got guys you're going to plug in holes there for the power play?
First and foremost, we feel like we have a defenseman in Ralph Freebergs who was started playing hockey to run a power play. That's what he does. That's not putting pressure on this guy. This is something he does. So that brings instant credibility to the power play. And we've been doing it for longer. So it's the same guys out there learning from the mistakes. But as you say, our depth is going to help our power play. We've got a couple of setups, not necessarily numbers, but setups that we want to use. We may plug some different numbers in there if guys aren't getting the job done, where in years past, we almost had nobody else to put in there. And that's what gets you to 11% or 10%, which again, costs you games. We have to find a way to score more in the power play. The last 8 games of the year last year, we were 20% of the power play. It showed up in some wins. It showed up in a really hard-fought series at Notre Dame. But still, you go back to games and you know special teams wins or loses games, period. We were not very good on the special teams on either side of the puck last year. We need guys to step up and be good on the power play. We need guys to step up to be good in the penalty kill. So we feel like we've got an opportunity for that to happen.
Do you have a number in mind for the power play and the penalty kill?
I think 20% on the power play is what you're shooting for, and 90 on the penalty kill is a little bit of a stretch, but it's a good number. You kill 9 out of 10 power plays, you're going to win a bunch of games. And it's the process of the game for us. We break down the process. The better we are in the process, the more games we're going to win. Special teams are a huge part of that process. And the better our special teams does, the more games we win. We've got facts of that. The better we are in the process, the more games we win. We've got facts of that. We've got numbers and proving. We have a chance to be good with the process. We have a chance to be good on the special teams. Now we have to execute. And we've got older guys that we can lean on to make sure that we're doing what we need to do every day to make those things happen.
Defensively, you mentioned Ralph. So can you talk about some of the other guys that need to step forward defensively?
The other guys that need to step forward and take that jump are the 3/4 sophomores that are now juniors. You look at Peria, Cusera, Michael Sullivan, the amount of hockey they played, and then you add Rusty Hafner in that mix. Those guys have played a bunch of hockey. They've gone on the road and won as freshmen. They've been to Joe Louis Arena, our league championship, as freshmen. Not sure where I think Michael Sullivan probably had the best of the group in terms of his sophomore season. All 3 of them need to take a step from underclassmen to upperclassmen, period. The one thing about it, for the people that know the sport of hockey, these aren't 19-year-old juniors. These are 21, 22, 23-year-old juniors, and these are guys that need to step up physically. They need to step up from a leadership perspective. They need to step up from a consistency perspective. And we really start and stop there. Ralphs brings offense and helps us that way, and so does Sean Walker, and so do, you know, a couple of other younger guys. But our D-core will go as far as those 4 older guys take us.
Will you talk a little bit about this exhibition game? I mean, I would have to think the excitement level's off the charts.
Yeah.
Because you're not hitting yourself anymore.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. It's a chance to hit somebody else, and it's a dress rehearsal. That's what it is. We can dress more players, literally have more players in our lineup than we can for a normal game, which gives us a chance to see some people in competition. It gives us a chance to experiment with some things, but ultimately it gives us a chance to play against somebody in a different color jersey, which for the last month we haven't had. So our guys are very excited, and we know that we're 7 days away from going to Union, who's the team that came into our building last year and took 2 games from us in a series that we felt we had the upper hand. So it's getting real here, and our guys know that. And I'm not saying it's time to crank it up. I'm just saying that this dress rehearsal is a good time for us because we're ready to start to bring some of this execution and some of this talk and some of these expectations, bring it to somebody else and play a game.
Are you looking more for overall execution on Saturday? Are there more specific things that you look for in a game like this?
No, I'm looking for great process. We feel like our team is intense all the time. We've established a work ethic. It's our executing within the process that we've had trouble with, and that's what we're looking for. So no different than any other game. We break it down into objectives, which is nothing more than the process. We're looking for that process to be great because we feel like you're going to get what you get from Bowling Green every night. They're going to work, and they're going to have second effort, and they're going to have third effort. And if there's a purpose to that, and there's some execution to that, then we're going to be all right, and that's what we're looking for. And the fear we have is they're too excited. They're too emotional, they're too amped up, and then they come out and they're over the edge and they're all out of control. It shouldn't happen to an older group, but that's our fear, that's our concern, and that's up to us as coaches is to make sure there's some poise and some focus to go with that energy and that excitement because it has been a long time since they've had a chance to play a game.
When you look at players in an exhibition, are you looking at this guy on defense, or are you looking at pairings or combinations, or how do you look at
Yeah, it's a good question. We're looking at everything. We really are. We're looking at line combinations that we've kind of had for the last couple of weeks. We're looking at deep pairings that we've had for the last couple of weeks. But it starts with individuals. You know, we're looking at individuals, some guys that were challenged. We need you to be more of this and less of that. We want to see them execute that. We want to see them do that, decide that that's what they want to do. We want to see guys invest in the game plan that we've created and we've put on paper and said, this is who we are, this is what we want to be, now go do that. So it starts individually, but again, it's not a lot of new, it's a lot of same stuff we've been talking about, we just need to execute at a higher level. Whether guys go from freshman to sophomore, or junior to senior, there's higher expectations individually, and that's what will start. And then after that, we'll look at combinations, we'll look at power play setups, we'll look at the penalty kill, which again, it just comes down to the process, and we want to have a great process.
Good.
Thanks for coming, appreciate it.